But on a more realistic scale, you'll have non-traditional women who demand men generally be protectors, generally be providers, pay for first dates, open car doors, be chivalrous. But they're not there's no reciprocity there. They're not doing anything traditional. So that's kind of my criticism, is that you have this demand that men be traditional, but y'all want to be modern women. Y'all want...
But you're throwing I feel like those are outliers too.
No, it's not. No, it's not. It's actually not an outlier.
Because look at how many people say they're feminist, and then they still want a man to pay for the first date. Like that's if you are a feminist, why are you not splitting the bill? It does not make a lick of sense.
You have traditional women that do want traditional treatment from men, but on top of that, you have a whole bunch of modern women who are not traditional at all, that still want the exact same things. They want all the traditional treatment from men.
I have a question though.
Okay, go ahead.
Why are, generally speaking, men feeding into this culture of these modern feminists by subscribing to their OnlyFans, by sending them money, by opening their doors, by doing all of these extra things? Like, that's also a challenge, being a more traditional, independent woman and being out on the date scene. But how do you get to know them without going on a first date? Like, you gave me a lot of heat about being on 30 different. Hold on a second. 30 different first dates. But how do I get to know somebody if I don't meet them?
You can talk to them for a day on an app.
I've told you I talked to them on an app, and they're completely different in the virtual realm than they are in person.
That's something you do. You can do it one person at a time, and it's totally.
It is one person at a time, but I'm getting heat
within
because
a month, if there's 30 people, it's not one person.
It was in the beginning of my day. So passing judgment, first of all, is just bad.
I'm allowed to
that's not good
share
faith.
My thoughts and opinions, whether you like it or not.
Okay, but you're not supposed to butt in either and let me just share my view.
Well, I was
so
too.
How are you supposed to actually meet? Yeah. So how are you supposed to actually meet people without meeting people? I get it.
It's not that hard to date one person at a time.
That's what we're saying.
So going back to your whole 30 dates
But it's not like dating all of those people consistently. Can we all agree that modern dating is not when you say you're dating someone exclusively or even to get to know them, you're serially dating them. If you're just putting yourself out there and starting to meet people and see who you can possibly have a match or connection with, you're meeting them. It's not different than going to a church event at multiple different churches and meeting different people. How is that any different?
Okay, so
explain that phenomenon to me. You're meeting people.
Okay.
You're creating opportunity to meet someone and speak to them.
You're saying modern dating, though, and then you're saying you expect traditional treatment. So, the whole point is you're participating in the modern dating. Modern dating is not traditional.
We're all participating in modern dating because guess what? We can't not be in the modern dating scene because it's modern day today.
No, but you can act traditionally.
There's plenty of people that don't move like that, that aren't going on 30 first dates in a month. If I was encountering a girl and she's like, Brian, I have a date planned for. If I was on a date with her on Saturday, Brian, I have a date for Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, I'd be like,
well,
I just
obviously
leave the
that's
date.
not
I wouldn't deal with that kind of girl.
Okay, so then what if you go to a mixer? What if you go to a mixer at church, for example, and there's 30 women there and 30 men there, and you meet all 30 of them?
And you as a girl,
how's that different? You're getting to know them.
Go up to each and thirsting over 30 dudes, or the dudes.
How are you thirsting if you're getting to know them? That's not unreasonable. I'm sorry.
When you say mixer, are you saying when you say mixer?
There's nothing wrong with
getting to know people and meeting people. There's nothing wrong with it. Just because I went on 30 dates doesn't mean I was romantically invested in 30 people.
It's a romantic endeavor.
But 30 dates means
going on dates with guys is a romantic endeavor. You might not be developing romantic feelings towards the other person because you're turned off by something about them.
It's one date. You explore it and then you close the chapter and you move on and you meet someone else. It screams like a desperation for romantic attention.
I'm not saying I understand exactly where you were in life.
Exactly.
But the thing
that's the point.
Well, the thing is, it's extremely unhealthy regardless of where you were. You were in that situation and you responded in an extremely unhealthy way.
Right. And then I went through therapy and then I handled all those things.
Yeah.
But it would behoove all of us to not pass judgment on people because of the way that they came out there and explored their life.
We all pass judgment on each other
we all
all
treat
the time.
judgment as this cuss word. People judge all the time.
Woman,
people use their judgment, but not judge people.
It is important to judge people.
You need to have discernment.
I judge that this person is a scumbag.
You judge their character, but you don't judge them as a person.
But I'm not judging
how is that any different, though?
The Bible says you judge yourself so that you won't be judged at once with the rest of the world, right?
I think you need to read that passage in context.
No, it says...
I've read that entire passage.
It says...
No, I know the passage.
Remove the
Can
plank
you quote
from
the
your
passage?
own eye.
I know what it is. It's Matthew chapter 7. And actually, Jesus himself commands you to judge in that passage.
Yes.
Later in the passage, he tells them you will know them by their fruits.
Yes, the fruits
A good
of the
tree
Spirit.
produces good fruit, and a bad tree produces bad fruit.
Right. And you will know them, but you will not judge them, because judgment is left for our Lord and Savior on one day.
No.
Yes.
In the very beginning of that passage, he also tells you not to cast your pearls before swine. Mm-hmm. Do not tell people about your judgment when they're just going to trample all over it.
Right.
So there are productive conversations. He commands us to judge.
Yes.
He's not saying we are the ones who are going to judge people at the end of time.
I think that's contextual.
And I'm not judging you as a person when I'm
but judgment is important.
Situation.
It's an important part of life.
Well, that's how it comes off.
But that's your personal perspective.
Can I ask her a question?
Just one sec. I will let you come in here really quick. So, okay. Yeah. Going on 30 first dates with 30 different men in a period of a month is absolutely excessive. You're within your right to do it, but I would argue most men, like, if the guys are just trying to fuck you, then maybe they don't care.
No, the guys are doing the same thing. They're trying to meet someone that they can date consistently. There's nothing wrong with it.
You think most men are capable of going on 30 first dates with 30
Healthy
different
men?
women in 1 month? Most men don't have that kind of optionality, but you as a woman
Have you
do.
ever been in a long-term, what was your longest term relationship?
I've dated a girl for 5 years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that was your longest relationship.
Sure.
Mine was 14 years.
How is that relevant at all?
It's
How
relevant
is that
because
at
when you
all
have not
relevant?
been out on the dating scene, dating is not just about like fucking, like you keep saying
That's
about
not-
sex.
ah,
It's not
that's not
about.
what I-
It's
that's
not
not even what I
about
said.
that
at all.
Dating
That's
is
just a straw man.
about getting to know people, meeting people, finding out what is your type of person and a potential match.
What is your
so
argument?
you have to
You're
meet
not even
people.
making an
But the
argument.
intention is also with romantic interest.
Right.
Yes.
Versus going to church and meeting people at church, you're not
It's like a
romantically
high-hello.
interested in
Yeah,
every
it's
single
not
person
like-
that
People
you
go
come
to youth
across at
convention,
church.
Christian youth conventions all the time to hopefully meet their future wives or husbands.
If
They
I'm
go
going
with
to
romantic
church,
interests.
like I hope I find my wife at church. That'd be awesome.
Right.
But it's not a guaranteed. I am going to this function to find a potential romantic interest.
That's why there
every
are church
single
hoppers.
date is.
I mean,
Every
it's-
single date is.
And that's
but
bad.
when you go to church, that's not the immediate intention. The
That
immediate
should not be
intention
your
when you go to
immediate
church
intention.
is I'm here to worship God.
Exactly.
And then hopefully, maybe I'll find a woman here that
Yes,
also shares
that's
those
what
same
I'm
values.
That's not
Yes.
the purpose of
Yeah, it's not
church,
going.
but-
That's not the
It
purpose
shouldn't
of church.
be. However, it can quickly become that.
But it's, again,
Well, I think
it's your
sometimes churches have like
intention.
singles, like
Okay.
clubs
Well,
and
look,
ministries and stuff.
Removing religion from this, I would argue that like going on, if imagine this is my future wife. The first day I met her, I knew it was love. I knew she was the one. She did go on that date immediately after our date with the other guy, and who knows how far along they got. But yeah, like it's a bad look. There's impropriety there for you to be going on that many dates. To
I
be
think
going on
that's your perspective and
Yeah,
your
I think it's-
perception.
I think it's
My
disrespectful.
perception is I would hope that my person has been out on the dating scene, has explored all their options. By the time they get to me, or vice versa, we know what we want and we know to stay and to invest time and attention to that.
But can I
to
ask,
that
So I
relationship.
are you a traditional
wouldn't-
woman, would
I-
you say?
Yes, I have 5 children.
But that
I'm a
is the
homemaker.
non-traditional dating. Like that, I'm
Yeah,
not saying...
that is non-traditional dating. You are absolutely correct because I
Right.
lived a very traditional, very conservative, ultra-religious lifestyle.
But you're saying
before
you're
I came out.
currently still traditional. And so just what I'm saying is if you
No,
participate in the
I'm
modern
a critical
dating
thinker
scene...
and independent. I have recreated
Well, I just
my
asked
normal.
you, and you said yes, you were traditional. So that's why I'm asking you, because that
I was
is
traditional.
participating in the hookup culture, which is what that is. If a man ever told me he's got 30 dates lined up,
You're making assumptions that every date was a hookup.
I never
Did you-
said that.
You guys are.
I
Did you
No.
sleep
never
with
said that.
did you sleep with any of
no.
them?
I don't assume
That's
that
why
you
they were
did.
first dates. That's why it's so frustrating
But
that you
no
guys
one-
are lumping
no
this
one
into
is
like this
assuming
hookup
that.
culture.
Oh, I still, even if you didn't sleep
So-
with any of those
Yeah,
men,
it's
I
hookup
still
culture. It's
absolutely
still
would
hookup culture.
object.
And that's your
to this.
opinion, and you're
No,
entitled
no.
to it. And
There
my
was a
opinion is
girl-
that you should explore.
There was
and
a
you
girl
should
in
get
here
to know
before
people.
that
Cool.
did something really similar, and I don't remember you giving her such backlash.
I always give. I always
he did.
give
The
push.
girl that was like, I
feel
didn't
like
date
we're
until I was
having-
20, and then
reminding
she
me
went
of
on
the
a
same
date. She's like
conversation,
married her
honestly.
number 14 or something like that.
There was a fair
Actually,
backlash.
Brian gets
and listen, like I really
Alexa-
like you as
Alexa?
a person. I'm not attacking you.
And like I don't
have a
remember it being
question
this
for
big.
Guys,
So
one
like
at a time,
how
one at a time,
far
please.
how far in advance would you plan these dates? Say with like for the whole entire month?
No,
Just day by day, or
absolutely. I mean,
like
you're
weeks in
matching,
advance?
you're getting to know somebody. You're like, okay, let's meet. Like, I'm not the person that's also gonna create like a textationship, because like I said, I started learning really quickly. Someone's gonna present a certain way electronically, and they're gonna be probably very different. And it took me a while to hack the system and figure out and filter out.
How many
this
total
person-
first dates do you think you've gone on in the past? You said this started.
I
in the
don't know.
pandemic.
I don't know, but I met
Hundreds?
people out
Have you
on
gone-
the
Have you
scene.
gone over 100 first dates? In the
Does
past
it
couple years?
matter?
I'm
But-
Does it
asking.
matter?
Can
Because
I-
I found
Well-
someone that actually sees me for who I am. I know exactly what I want, and when I identified him, we locked it in monogamously.
But
so
you-
Right, but
You-
okay.
Doesn't
so
even matter
how many-
what the
how
journey
many-
was.
How many first dates do you think you went on?
I don't know, and I'm honestly not going to tell you.
Why?
Because all you're doing is weaponizing it and making me look like I'm this.
No
like,
one is trying to
You
do
can
that.
do-
attention hungry person.
Nope,
and
didn't
No one
say
has
that.
said
like,
that.
Didn't
This
say
is
that.
I'm less of a
perception.
value woman just because
say
I went
that.
on multiple dates. No, but that's what's being
But you
alluded
said
to it.
yourself,
Yes,
I
it
did
would
ask
be-
you at one
okay.
point, I asked you if you thought that was a healthy pattern, and you said no, and yet you're defending it right now. And so I'm telling you.
I am defending it because everyone goes through their own healing
Yes,
journey.
and I slept
and
with
it's
a
not
lot of-
our part.
Listen,
But-
I
Yeah,
slept with
everyone
a
goes
lot
through
of
their own healing journey.
Of
Listen.
you're
Yes.
dating hundreds.
And
like, I
until
don't know how
you've
many
been in an
hundreds of men.
actually abusive, controlling relationship and have not
Listen.
had any control over your life, you really have no
I'm
going
going
to
to tell you right now that you do not know my past, but I'm telling you, I have slept with a lot of people. I have a pretty significant past, and I am able to sit here and say it was unhealthy, it was wrong, I will not defend it. I wish I didn't do it. I wish I could have done things differently, and it was not traditional. And I'm just saying, if you are wanting to say you're traditional and you recognize it's not healthy, we shouldn't be perpetuating that this is somehow worthy of like a chivalrous man who's going to be expecting you to be like, it's not ladylike, it's not traditional. And I'm just saying, we're not attacking you, we're attacking the ideology.
Can I ask her a
Let me
question?
let me
I don't
jump
think
in
she
really
said-
quick. Let me jump in really quick. I'm going to ask you guys a question here. Do you want a long-term relationship?
Do I want one?
Do you want one?
Yes.
Do you want a long-term relationship?
yeah.
Do you want a long-term relationship? Okay. My question to you is: let's say you went on a date with a guy, and your goal, you're not just trying to fuck him. It's not like a casual hookup. You're like, hey, I want a long-term relationship. That's your goal. This guy tells you, by the way, I have 30, 40, 50 more dates lined up. I have a date tonight. I have dates with other women all this week. Do you think, if you were desirous of a long-term relationship, that this would be the type of man that you ought to pursue?
No.
No.
No, because I don't think I'm getting a fair chance at that point. Like,
It's a good point,
Yeah.
because he's not going to give you a fair chance. So I mean, if you're desirous of a long-term relationship, it's just not a good look.
I don't care about the look. It really
That's
doesn't impact
totally
me at
fine.
all because I know who I am as a person, and I know that my person and
Yeah,
my
you can do
match is
whatever
going
you
to
want.
identify
You can
who
do
I
whatever-
am
Question?
and vice versa.
So, like, I've never been on dating apps or anything before, but I have a lot of friends that have. And you can easily go on a virtual first date with 30 people, like, really quickly, I would assume, right? By just messaging them. Like, do you view that differently than meeting them in person? Like, what's your perspective on that? Because I feel like you
'Cause
can
it is
match with someone
dating.
and be like, hey, what's up? And be like having...
And that
you know,
actually wasn't even a function because I got on the dating scene a month before the pandemic hit. I've literally seen the evolution of the apps.
Yeah,
so they
I'm
didn't
just-
have film.
I'm pretty sure they always had.
No,
like,
they did not
a
have
voice.
picture function. They did not have video camera. That was an evolution that
do you mean
happened
But,
like,
late in
Pretty
2020.
early.
But, like,
pretty
couldn't
early.
you just be, like, texting 30 people easily?
I wouldn't date a
quickly?
girl
I
like
don't know
that.
that-
Look,
I
I'll
would
just
not
give you
have
my
that mental
I'll just give you
energy.
my perspective on this. Maybe I don't move the same way as a lot of guys. Like, if I'm interested in a woman, that's who I'm pursuing, and I'm gonna bring it as far as I can. And
That's great.
if it
And
doesn't
hope
work
it
out with her,
sticks.
then
And hope it sticks.
right. And if it doesn't work out with her, then I'll start entertaining other options.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't do this thing of, okay, I'm just going to talk to like 10 chicks, fuck 3 of them, keep them on the back burner for 3 months, and then the one I like the most, maybe I'll give her a relationship.
See how you're painting that picture? Like, that's not what I did, and that's what you're making it sound like.
No, I'm just
and
talking
that's not
about
what
myself.
I did.
I'm not even saying that's what you did. I'm just talking about myself. But perhaps you weren't to that degree, but you said you were dating or going on dates with multiple men.
I was going on first dates to meet
That's literally the same
people.
thing. Thank you for
It is
reiterating.
not the same thing.
You're not
Thank you
in
for
a
reiterating
relationship,
exactly
but you are
what I said.
it's a date.
Did any of these men you went on second dates with? Third dates with?
And that was in like the beginning phases, and I kid you not, all of them were like first dates. Like, nope.
Cool.
Nope.
Doesn't
Like,
matter.
I
Doesn't
was
matter.
learning what I wanted. And my question to you is like, in life, when you were younger and you were like out on the dating scene and stuff, did you have any restrictions, or were you able to like meet as many women or young ladies as you kind of wanted to and get to know them?
I mean, certainly there's been periods,
Okay.
and I've had hold on, let me finish. There's been periods when I was on the dating apps, but I mean, I was fairly intentional. Like, if I have no interest in sleeping with a girl once. If I want to get with a girl, there's going to be continuity. Look, it's certainly possible that she doesn't want to continue seeing me, although that's relatively rare. But yes, there's absolutely going to be continuity. So I don't want to just fuck a girl once and never talk to her again.
Right.
To me, that's pointless. It's a waste of time. I'm very I'm a busy person. I don't have time to be just, let me just fuck a girl once and then put in all the effort and never talk to her
And
again.
that
Doesn't
and that's
interest
not
me.
what,
But
right. And that's not what I'm even like propagating or talking about. I'm talking about meeting people.
yeah, but I don't have an interest in, if I was I would probably screen it out to begin with. You know, if I'm meeting a girl and she's like, this actually happened to me when I was on dating apps. And look, I know this is how people move on dating apps. I was on a date with a girl, and I'm trying to remember the exact details, but I was on a date with her. She told me she'd just downloaded Hinge. It was a Hinge date, and I think she'd had it for 3 days. She told me I'd only been on the app for 3 days. It was my first date with her. I think it was a Saturday. She tells me on the date, credit to her, I guess, so I could disqualify her immediately. She told me, by the way, because we were just talking, so how's your experience been on the dating apps, blah, blah, blah. That's how we got to it. She tells me, oh yeah, I've already been on 2 dates, and then I have 3 other dates planned for this weekend, and a couple other dates planned. I was like, I continued the conversation with her for a bit, but then I was.
Yeah, and that's
I ended
but
it- I
that's
had
also
no
a different
more
posture.
interest.
Like, how disrespectful can it possibly be for you to be like, oh, I've been on a couple of dates and I also have a few dates after you. Like, I give that person my attention.
But you don't know what
just
Wait, but
because
that's
I'm
exactly
not
what
going.
you're doing. You
did
That's
that.
not.
But you're not.
exactly what
No,
you're doing.
that she just asked
giving
me,
that
are you
person your
are you
attention?
pre-planning 30 different dates like that? No. I'm connecting with someone. I'm talking to them.
Doesn't
Now
matter.
I want to meet them in person, see if they're a good match.
But you're
no,
talking
they're
about
not. I
sometimes
move on to the next
2
person
in a
that I want to
day.
meet.
I mean, that sounds like pretty like you're setting up a roster. And honestly, like I'll be honest, like when I'm on a dating app, I have maybe a few conversations with people. They fizzle out, whatever. But I'm not like setting up. I'm not trying to judge you. I'm just saying like.
Well, that's the
I
way you
don't-
choose to do life, and then I choose to do life
But you
my way.
can't
That's
say
fine.
it's a
I would just
traditional
what it
way
is.
of living.
If I'm going to give a prescription here, my advice to men would be, you ought only date women who are immediately giving you their undivided romantic and sexual attention.
I have a question for you.
Go ahead.
So if that girl were to want to just pursue you after that first date and canceled
Yeah.
all the rest of her dates, would you still
View
consider
her. That's a good
her?
question.
Or
That is
would
a
you
good
still
question.
disqualify her?
Right.
It depends a little bit. It's still not, I mean, if she's like, okay, I really like Brian, I'm going to cut off everybody else,
Yeah.
then
Yeah, that's good.
'Cause I don't-
I give her
like-
some leeway, but it's still like not the most ideal way to be moving in my view.
Yeah, no, I agree. I don't
Because
like,
I think, okay, well, what about the past? Has she been sexually involved recently with anybody else? Like, I don't want to date a girl who just like, I'm going on a first date with you and you hooked up with a guy the night before. I don't want to date you.
yeah, that totally makes sense. And I like don't
But-
agree with what you did, but I would assume that if you wanted to pursue one of the guys that you went
Well,
on a
I've
date
just
with, you
had
would
that,
cancel the
finally.
other. Yeah, you would cancel the other
I don't know
dates
if we will
and continue
drop
to
it
pursue
today,
that
but-
guy.
I don't know. For me personally, like, I'm pretty straightforward. I don't like to play games. I'm just going to tell a girl, I like you. Like, it's going to be a fucking, what do I say, wrecking ball? No, it's just going to be like, I'm not going to play a game where we're like for 3 months, we're in a situationship and like you're fucking other dudes.
Yeah.
I'm fucking other, I was about to say I'm fucking other dudes. I'm sleeping with other girls. Like, I'm going to be very intentional. I like you. if I sleep with you, I want to continue seeing you.
I agree with that posture, and I know that modern dating, for the most part, handles it the way you just said. Situationships, 3 months.
That's how it is.
Non-exclusive,
And people are-
sleeping around, whatever. And then that's what gets you into a pickle
People
real
are
quick.
Yeah.
incredibly
obviously.
And that's what we're
dissatisfied
saying.
with this whole situationship.
But I would not
Yeah.
use that as a blanket to like meeting people. I fully expect and you know.
So sure,
people
there's,
should
there's
meet people and get to
maybe
know
you're not
people.
like sleeping with multiple
But, like-
people, but I would still disqualify a girl who's like entertaining that many men.
Because you're also like to some
It's not
degree
as bad as-
you are probably subconsciously comparing them to each other in a sense. You're like, well, this date went like this with this guy, and then that date goes like this with that guy, and like you can't be satisfied because like you're just constantly moving on to the next, to the next, to the next, and maybe there would have been somebody that would have been worthy, but you just were so busy setting up all these dates that you know you kind of didn't even give anybody maybe a viable
Yeah,
chance.
it does.
It just
And-
it screams like I need romantic attention, but I
Yes.
do not want to form connections with people because I'm scared of being hurt.
Well, I have a question, a scenario, right?
Okay.
If you're sitting at a dinner table and you have a guest, and this guest has had consistent meals and eaten well-fed, well-raised, whatever, how do you expect that they're going to eat their food? Are they going to use their forks? Are they going to
Properly?
properly,
I
like
don't
normally?
understand.
So then,
Yeah,
if you're at a
use their
dinner
forks.
table with someone that has been lost in the woods without any food, starved to the point of almost death, and you've invited them to dinner after 30 days of not eating, how are they going to eat?
Listen, I
How would they eat in
understand-
front of you?
I understand your
Like a
question.
pig with their hands,
Yeah.
with their like they're
Okay,
in
sure.
survival mode.
Sure, okay,
So
whatever.
we can't just throw these judgments on people. Like I'm speaking for
I
all
get
But
it.
it
other
does
domestic
not
violence.
listen. I've
Okay.
tweeted
survivors.
this today. I said that listen, we do need to have compassion and empathy for people because not everybody is operating under the same level of their faculties due to whatever they've been through. Blah blah blah. But it does not absolve us of personal responsibility, and we have
Well, okay, so
choices.
in your example, the person who comes starving for a very long time and gets food, there's no moral, like it's not morally wrong to like start shoveling food down because you're hungry, but it is morally. It's wrong to lead these guys on.
You're not
one
leading them
after-
on if you've
Yeah,
gone on
yeah,
one
okay.
date and you've said, I'm not
No, no,
interested,
no,
thank
okay,
you.
okay, okay.
That's not
leading them
morally
on.
wrong.
If you
That
consider
is
that leading
factually
on,
and
you
morally
you need to-
correct.
you need to,
It's
like,
No,
morally
yeah.
wrong to have multiple men on a roster and to just keep
So
them
you're-
there hanging for
So
3
you're
months at a
telling
time.
me that you just that day you just randomly swiped on a random guy, matched with him, said, "Hey, let's meet up in
Right
like a
now.
couple hours." Like,
No, but
there
a
had
couple
to
of
be
days
some amount of
prior,
planted-
has
plant-
nobody ever matched on an app
but
and had some
how
There you go.
conversation
So
with,
you,
let's
you've
take
had
this in
many
person?
guys
Many
you planning out your
conversations.
week dependent upon
No,
these
I wasn't
guys who-
planning out my week. Don't put words in my mouth because
As
I never
somebody
said
who
that.
have to.
I've been on
You
dating
have
apps.
to
don't.
In order
do
to meet
that, you
30
have
guys
to
in a
plan
month, you
that.
have to have some
And
kind of
especially when
planning
you
it
have
out.
kids and you have a
It's-
life and
it's
a career,
logistically
like, you
impossible.
have to.
I
Otherwise.
gave a. Okay.
Can I ask a question?
One thing really quick. So, as somebody who used to be on the dating apps, been off them for a while, at least from the guys' perspective, maybe it's could be different from women if you were a bit more making yourself a bit more available. From my perspective, it's very difficult to get a woman on a date same day that you match them. Even if you ask for the date, let's say you don't you match with them on Thursday, you're typically going to have to plan the date out a couple days. Most people are not available.
Dinner
at most-
dates and longer dates, yes, agreed. But a quick coffee date in downtown, wherever you are, doesn't take much planning if you have a flexible schedule, which
But you
I
have to be like, hey, how are you? Are you a sane person? You have conversations with these people.
I would
multiple
argue-
at
I said that
once.
obviously.
I would argue most of the dates that I've been on from dating apps was not like spontaneous, let's meet today. It's maybe happened a couple times. The vast majority of them were, okay, it's currently Monday. What are you doing Thursday? What are you doing Friday? Are you like, we plan it days in advance.
And that's the difference between being single and not having children and being single and actually having to like
Whoa,
Would it-
that
Would it
make
be even
time
harder if you have
around
children?
whenever you
Because
don't have kids.
You have even
on the
more to
opposite
plan
end.
around.
Yeah,
No.
you could. I feel like if you have kids,
if
you'd
you
have to
more
plan
kids,
it even more.
You would probably have less dates.
Especially you got to
Anyways,
arrange
that's crazy.
childcare,
Anyways,
like you
we
said.
are going to move
and-
on. We